Yeah. SMT Nation. Happy New Year's, one and all. I really want to wish everybody a happy new year. Let's celebrate tonight with a solid podcast. I'm going to give you guys my best effort tonight. I'm going to give you all I got. I'm going to give you a strong outing from the SMT. We're going to talk about the carriers, of course. We're going to talk about how the carriers did this year. Some highlights, some lowlights from each of the companies. AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile. We're going to look at their future, 2021. I'm not really going to focus too much beyond that. I mean, looking forward 2 years is like, you know, whatever. Oh, man. I want to wish everybody a happy new year. I hope everybody finds wealth and health moving forward in 2021. The homie Mike is here. Appreciate you, buddy. Hashtag Mod Squad, Baby Yoda as well. Dan, Michael, Sheep, Barry, Caleb, Tim. Happy New Year, one and all. Appreciate you guys being here tonight. I know you could be anywhere on this green earth, and you are here. So I appreciate you. Hashtag 2Live Crew. Info Assistant, Happy New Year to you. Cesar as well. Mr. Gonzalez, appreciate you, buddy. If you haven't, maybe you haven't seen the post. I did post something to the community tab. Cesar had some speed testing he wanted to share with the community, so I posted it there. Check it out. N41 from T-Mobile. Absolutely tremendous showing from them. Check it out. It's in the community tab. Subscribe to his channel and support a member of the SMT Nation. William, Jarrett, Gavin, appreciate you guys. Thanks for being here. Hey, boo. How you? Happy New Year to you. Oh, the number one, numero uno. Absolutely. Go ahead and hit that like button while you guys are here, and I'm saying hello to everyone. Appreciate you guys very much for stopping by. I see Dan, I see Josh, I see Michael. Kimon, my brother. Sebby, my brother. Thanks for being here. Giovanni, Happy New Year to you, sir. Rafsan, thanks for stopping by. Good to be here. Good to be alive. Man, I'm ready to get this show going. Let me know how my sound is. Audio, the music. Let me know how everything is. Actually, you know what? What's up, Sean? It's not an official SMT podcast until I crack the soda and pour it. So let's crack it and pour it. That's how you do it. That's right, Josh. Extra crispy. Joseph, Happy New Year to you. I know in the UK it's... You guys already started celebrating hours ago. So... Oh, man. You got it, Josh. We're going to bring it to you. Absolutely. That's right, brother. All right. Let's go ahead. Happy New Year, one and all. Thank you all for being here tonight. Oh, man, my lighting is like super, super bright. Holy cow. Man, what is up with that? Total, like, white balance problem. Let's see if I can fix that a little bit. 1 second. Should I go with the blue look? Is that any better? It's still kind of off, isn't it? Oh, now I'm out of focus. Yeah. Let's see if I can figure this out. Hold on 1 second. That should be a little bit better, right? It feels like I'm out of focus, though. Okay. All right. Let's see if we can make this happen now, if we can get this show started. All right. This is better than the ball trap. Oh, man. Lower the brightness of the light. So it's, I don't know if it's, I think it's my camera. I actually don't like my webcam. But yeah, the lighting situation, I've got a couple of lights that I'm ordering. The lighting situation is going to get better. I'm also going to upgrade my camera very soon. There are upgrades coming in 2021 for the SMT Productions. The audio is pretty tight. I think everything is good on that end. I do have to address a little bit of the video stuff, but hey, baby steps, right? As the channel becomes more successful and the community grows, I'm able to do more from contributions, donations, AdSense revenue. I'm always reinvesting into the podcast and the channel itself. So we've got some phones we got to buy next year. Obviously, I'm going to have to get some kind of a Galaxy device here to start in January. So I've got to plan that expenditure. I got to buy me an S series, some kind of S20, S21, S21, S21 Plus Ultra. I'm probably going to get the S21 Plus, sake of battery life and whatnot. But yeah, I'll be buying one of those. I'll probably be buying an iPhone later in the year when they drop the new one. I'll probably get a Google phone as well. As long as it's a flagship, I don't need another mid-ranger. I'm good there. So yeah, we shall see. All right, you guys ready to start this? Samsung, ew, from Tim. That's funny. Oh, man. You guys ready to start? All right, so the focus of tonight is going to be a review of 2020. I'll give you guys some ratings, some highlights and lowlights of each of the carriers. I'm going to give you a bit of a prediction for each of the carriers. What's up, Swap? How you doing? Good to see you. All right, and then, I think it's fair to judge them based on how they did during the year. Some carriers had more complicated years than others. I think we can all agree that T-Mobile's is or was the most complicated year. It's a lot to overcome, a lot to do for T-Mobile this year. They had some turnover. What's up, Christopher? Time to get the pink Kool-Aid. Tim says T-Mobile had a lot of lows. Yeah, buddy. No argument here. Oh, man. Hey, personality disorder. Typically, it just depends on the coverage in your area is what I say. So, all right. We are going to recap everything from 2020, and then we're going to make some predictions. Let's go ahead and get started first with the recap in wireless. How I saw 2020 from each of the carriers. I want to start with AT&T. All right. AT&T is by far the most dynamic carrier of all the major carriers. The reason I say that is because their pockets are so deep. It's a massive company, though. It's not a company that only has wireless. It's a company that has wireless, wireline, home internet, in the case of like fixed wireless and, and fiber optic, and they have TV, and they have direct TV. They've got streaming services. They have HBO Max. It was a big year for AT&T. They are still heavily trying to focus on reducing their debt load, so that's inevitable. I know they had a lot of changes in the executive side. So let's just start there. Early in 2020, we knew that AT&T was going to be emphasizing cost reductions. They were going to be laying people off. They told us that at the end of 2019. We even knew it. That inevitably came. They laid people off. They discontinued positions. Internationally, across the globe, people lost their jobs. No surprises there. A lot of people say, yo, Sneed, why are you so hard on T-Mobile when they let go of employees, but you're not hard on AT&T? That's because AT&T told us they were going to be laying people off, and T-Mobile said they weren't going to lay people off. That's why I was a little bit harder on T-Mobile, because one company kept it real, ironically AT&T, and then the other company lied, ironically the uncarrier, doing carrier things. Get what I'm saying? So they had basically an emphasis on reducing debt, keeping their profitability high, trying to please investors. An investment and shareholders is a big thing over at AT&T. That's a big company. People want their dividends. They had some executive shifts at the very top. Former CEO Randall Stevenson now officially off the books. They got him out of there pretty quick. They replaced him with a incumbent who actually was, I think, CEO of Time Warner, John Stankey. One heck of a name, because in my opinion, he's been stanking it up for a long time. He has not really changed anything culturally at the company. They are still emphasizing the reduction in debt. They're still, emphasizing ways to reduce the fat, as they say, or trim the fat. And they're working through that stuff. Anyways, new CEO, some shifting around of executives. Let's actually focus on some of the highlights for AT&T. All right. Highlight number one. I think we could say that the FirstNet contract is really paying off for AT&T. Their coverage has expanded exponentially. They are now as good or extremely close to Verizon. I'm not really sure how the calculations are made. I don't know who's testing, that sort of thing. But let me just tell you this. Band 14, the FirstNet contract for AT&T, was as important for that company in wireless as John Legere was for T-Mobile. So T-Mobile would not be competitive right now without John over the course of the last several years. I think AT&T, with their focus on media and other stuff, if they didn't have the FirstNet deal, they'd be falling behind tremendously in wireless. So they really needed the Band 14 deal. It shored up their service nationwide. Right? So that's huge. So I think that's one of their highlights. They're also generating a lot of revenue and stuff from it. They had really good quarters, especially the last two quarters. Q3 and Q4 is probably going to be really good. So I think financially, in terms of the wireless, they're doing well. The DirecTV is a problem. The debt load from the media side is a problem. Home internet is mixed. Right? Their fiber seems to be doing well. They're shutting down elements of their old DSL. The government contracts, like I said, are really good. I think their 5G launch was pretty successful, generally speaking. I think the low-band 5G, while it may not be performing incredibly, there's no such thing as fast low-band 5G. No carrier can offer it. It's just not going to happen unless it's like a low-volume region, or low-volume market. It's just not going to happen. But their DSS launch has been mixed, right? Millimeter wave deployments has been pretty good for them, so that's good. HBO Max has been surprisingly effective for AT&T, so I think that's been successful. Now, in terms of the lowlights or the problems from this year, continuing the residual debt. The debt load has not really been paid down. No sign of it coming down for a while. I think that's going to continue to be a problem. The Elliott Management snafu, big investor from the company, that was trouble. They came in, invested, and bounced and took their money out. They obviously let go of a lot of jobs. You can't de-emphasize that. That's a problem. I think also the move from corporate locations for retail to authorized dealers, I see that as a problem too. You can't really control the customer care piece. You're leaving it up to a retailer or an authorized agent. So that being said, I don't know about the quality of the customer care. You're probably going to be better off dealing with corporate on the phone or something like that. The layoffs continue to be a problem. I think also AT&T TV has not really panned out as they wanted it to. Performance really hasn't been there. They also announced the sunset of 3G and HSPA, kind of end of life, but they did not execute it. Right? It's like kind of far away. I think they said like a couple of years from now. So that gives people a time frame when it's going to be shut down. But it doesn't expedite the shutdown. And the sooner the shutdown, the better, because they can allocate all of that 3G stuff and HSPA over to LTE, and specifically, I think more so the 5G. You know, the AT&T TVs, the interesting thing there is it's still structured like the old-fashioned contracts. That stuff has to change. Oh, man, there you go, Dan. Dan brings it up. He says, yeah, they got that contract that where the price basically almost doubles the second year, and that's year 2 of the term. So for 12 months, you'd be paying a totally different amount, you know, excessive. It's not really moving the needle. You know what I'm saying? So those were some of the highlights and the lowlights. I think AT&T in 2021, you know, try to finish the Band 14 as much as possible, the FirstNet deal, trying to roll out and complete that deployment of Band 14 nationwide. I think they get close to 90% coverage done by the end of the year. If they, as long as they keep, you know, spending the money. They spent $20 billion 2 years ago, $22 billion last year. And I expect them to spend at least $20 to $22 billion this year. I don't see why that would be any different. I think they're going to expand on service revenue for FirstNet. More of those government deals, more of those government entities. I think the families get involved as well, so adding more lines and stuff like that. I think HBO Max, once it goes international, that'll be a nice boost for their business. I want to see an ad campaign for that, for HBO Max. I really want them to push it hard. Because I think the way that you address the debt is by making money off of the product that you created the debt for. Right? So Time Warner was like $100 billion. DirecTV was like $47 billion plus their $20 billion in debt. I don't think you'll ever get that back. I'd sell that for whatever. $15 billion, take it. You know, DirecTV. But for the Time Warner piece, start making money soon. So continue to manage and chip away at the debt load. Focus on wireless as the breadwinner for the company. Better executive execution. I'm not sure if I'm all in on John Stankey. I don't really know if what he's doing is effective. I think there's some people at the AT&T corporate side. They're very traditional. Things need to shake up there a bit. I don't know if that'll ever happen, but I think they need a new approach and a new culture. Things are too old-fashioned over there. They're still hanging on to ideals from like decades ago. It's very different now. I feel like whenever AT&T is strayed away from the common path, they found success. Maybe they should use that as a, you know, some sort of a new approach, a new identification. Network-wise, I think we're going to see a lot of gains to the Band 14, the 700 megahertz. That'll help a lot for national coverage. I think they surpass Verizon as the national carrier at some point next year if they haven't already. C-RAN is going to be a big piece of what AT&T will do to provide capacity to customers, especially if you live in the urban areas, you know, densely populated cities. You're going to see C-RAN quite a bit. Millimeter wave with multiple sectors. You know, the LTE at the top. A little bit of LAA. A little bit of Band 30. 5 carrier aggregation, 7 carrier aggregation. Upgrades to backhaul and hardware. AT&T will be doing upgrades correctly. Trust on that. Make progress on DSS. Figure that situation out with Band 2 and Band 66 and others. Hopefully Verizon works on that too. We'll talk about that in a bit. Enhance the tower grid. Like adding tower density. Use the C-RAN. Use the small cells, obviously. David, Happy New Year to you. But I also think you also got to expand on the macros as well. So places where your tower sites are 2 miles apart, whether it's through small cells or macros strategically, increase your build out like that. I think that pays for them, especially because we're going to be seeing C-band very, very soon. You know, and then when you do your one-touch upgrades, it's going to be tremendous. So as you're upgrading Band 14, you upgrade with Band 30, whatever other upgrades and modernizations you have to do, and then throw C-band in the mix. All right, you got yourself a winning combination there. Overall, when I look at the entirety of 2020, in terms of the performance for the year, I give AT&T a 6 out of 10. They were not a total failure. I think they were effective in wireless. The deals, the HBO Max. There are some good things there. For 2021, if I had to predict how they're going to do, I think I'm going to give them a 7 out of 10 as my prediction, how they'll end up. Emphasize wireless, emphasize FirstNet, emphasize HBO Max, advertise, let people know that your plans are competitive, let people know that your plans are rich in value, and let people know that you have national coverage and high capacity access. It is 100% true. AT&T offers the best video resolution playback of any cellular provider. They need to advertise that and leverage that. Stop letting everybody off the hook. No longer let T-Mobile brag about the network experience or Verizon brag about the network experience. In my experience, AT&T is the most underrated network available for commercial use and consumer use. And some of the stuff they do on the enterprise side is solid. They just got to let people know. They need to be more aggressive in advertising and marketing. Let people know. Verizon is next. All right, let's talk Verizon. In 2020, Verizon could have gone a number of different ways. They could have gone traditional carrier. They could have gone uncarrier. They got this newer CEO. He's been around for a couple of years, but he absolutely shined in 2020. He was different than all the other wireless CEOs. 100% very different than the AT&T CEO, combination of Randall Stevenson, who is now gone, and John Stankey, who is now there. And then we'll talk more about the Mike Sievert, switch with John Leisure. But in my opinion, if you watch any of the videos produced by the Verizon on YouTube account, and you will see that this guy is very likable. The Verizon CEO, Hans Vesper, got to shine. He is a kind man. He is a philanthropist through and through. He chose to retain employees when he could have laid them off. He retrained them and helped them accelerate their professional careers. Does he replace John as the uncarrier leader? I don't know if I'd go that far. There may never be another John Leisure who literally put profitability and corporate beliefs, put all that to the side and focused on just making customers happy. I don't know if we're ever going to really see that in wireless again as the marketplace has matured. But he definitely did his best rendition of John Leisure in a lot of ways. Highlights for Verizon. I think the Disney bundle deserves a mention. That was a game changer for Verizon customers, getting Hulu, ESPN Plus, and Disney Plus, as well as probably Apple Music, included in a lot of the plans. That screams value, and at no extra cost. That's very uncarrier. What's up, Adam? Good to see you, man. Another highlight for Verizon in 2020 was the ability to materialize enterprise business accounts. They are locking in deals for the future. Verizon's deposits in the future of enterprise accounts was really substantial in 2020. They locked in Walmart. They locked in healthcare. They locked in a lot of enterprise. It's really tremendous to see the deals that they did with Lloyd. Like all these different companies that are in like automation and these other things. So they really did a big thing there with enterprise. We'll talk about the ultra wideband here. I think it's worth mentioning. They made huge performance gains in ultra wideband. The connection in a lot of markets has become super reliable. Can't defy the laws of physics. It's hard to get it indoors. It's not realistic, but they're taking the show indoors. They're going to expand on more markets. Oh, snap, Tana. Appreciate you, bro. Man, coming through, man. Tana, thank you for the super chat. That's right, brother. Thank you, man. Thank you so much for that donation, for that New Year's donation. For y'all that haven't, go ahead over to Tana So Lit, subscribe to his channel. Oh, by the way, provides all the instrumentals and all the beats to my background music on all my videos. Big shout out to Tan. Appreciate you, brother. Happy New Year to you. I wish you wealth and I wish you health, my brother. By the way, you played a beat yesterday. I have to get that one. There was a beat that was fire, man. I was listening to your live stream. I'm going to have to get that one for future videos. All right, so back to Verizon. Great performance gains in ultra-wideband. I expect them to expand the market. More ultra-wideband markets. Also expanding and scaling those markets, so improving the density of nodes. You're going to see more and more, like how CLE is, how Chicago is, how New York is, you know. The ultra-wideband is going to be a focus for a long time. Even when they start deploying C-band, they're still going to deploy the ultra-wideband. But it's an especially key focus area for them while they still don't have anything other than the ultra-wideband to deploy. So until they get more mid-band, they'll be, deploying ultra-wideband as an emphasis. Some of the low lights for Verizon, I think the mixed reviews on the DSS is pretty apparent. I've turned off 5G at times to get away from the DSS situation. Low-band 5G sucks. That's one of the themes, the lowlights of 2020. Low-band 5G sucks. I don't care if it's band 5. I don't care if it's band 71. Low-band 5G is slow. It's not going to change anyone's life. Very seldomly is low-band going to perform to the point where it's going to really make a difference for you. Maybe in some extended areas where low-band never, got deployed effectively, you add sites and stuff like that. I don't know. So, just saying that the Verizon version of low-band through DSS on band 5, no surprise, it's not great. Outside of millimeter wave, Verizon doesn't really have any new spectrum to deploy with the exception of unlicensed CBRS. So that really was a problem this year. They probably lost a little bit of profitability because they did lose some customers to the MVNO side. Xfinity and Spectrum, while they do sell the Verizon network, it does reduce their profitability because they're not their real customers, right? Another lowlight was Verizon trying to prevent or block T-Mobile from getting more lease agreements for 600 megahertz from other companies, Columbia Capital and so on. Look, message to Verizon. If you don't want T-Mobile launching and having access to all this low band, why didn't you buy more of it? Why don't you sign lease agreements for that spectrum? It's almost ridiculous to think that a company would get mad at another company for spending money to make their network better. Like, I get it. There's a spectrum screen. You can only have so much low band in a certain market. You can only have so much mid band in a certain market and so on. But what the heck? You could have signed 600 megahertz lease agreements with any of those companies. You could have bought 600 megahertz back in 2016 when it auctioned. You chose not to. You chose only to spend $10 billion on AWS-4 in 2015. Dish ended up spending $10 billion. Happy New Year to you, Adam. Thanks, man. Appreciate you. Appreciate the super chat. I just feel like some of what Verizon could have done would have prevented them from needing to try to block T-Mobile from getting more low band. I just feel like that looks kind of stupid on Verizon's part, in my opinion. Ridiculous. I consider that a low light for Verizon. Anyways, for 2021, I expect Verizon to do quite a bit with a couple of different things. Obviously, the shutdown of 3G, Tim just brought it up. Yep. Happy New Year, Gene. Appreciate you. That'll help because they'll refarm that to LTE or 5G. I'm not sure what exactly the plan is for them. I think we're going to see a lot of millimeter wave continue to expand. Indoor, outdoor, macros, micros, they don't care. CBRS, we'll see more. Unlicensed, continued, and then licensed. They'll be deploying that next year, I think sometime mid-year. Indoor, outdoor, micro, macro, mixed application. We're going to see Discovery Plus, a new New streaming service, Verizon will have that for their customers. More value. I think the Apple partnership is strong. More of that fleet enterprise deal with Apple. The 5G just got real, the 5G ultra-wideband. Any type of automation, manufacturing that Apple needs, Verizon will have the shoe-in for that. They'll be sitting in the catbird seat. Enterprise will be huge in 2021 and moving forward. Walmart, Walgreens, automation, healthcare, manufacturing, robotics, AR and VR, Pokemon, Twitch, Amazon Web Services. The enterprise side for Verizon is bright. They're winning when it comes to enterprise. I think C-band gets launched next year at the end. Very, very end, December. They might even try to push to have it moved up. If they can get it a month sooner, 2 months sooner, I think they do. They're going to try their best. Gene, thank you for the super chat, man. Appreciate it. Thanks for that New Year's Eve super chat. Thanks, man. I think Verizon, it would also serve them some justice to also try to really push to get CBRS moved to high power. I don't know how realistic it is. I don't know if it's going to happen. There is no guarantee. I really felt strongly that was going to happen. I cannot say with certainty that I feel that same confidence. I just don't know. You know what I mean? So that's something to watch. If Verizon can pull that off, that'll be a game changer. Taking CBRS high power will be amazing. In 2020, I give Verizon a 7 out of 10 year. 7 out of 10. It's pretty good. 7 out of 10. In 2021, I think Verizon will have an 8 out of 10 year. More ultra-wideband, more enterprise, more CBRS, added value. I think there's going to continue to be a very profitable company. Their pricing's probably not going to change too much. I am going to make some predictions about them. I do think we're going to see some price changes, or plan changes in wireless. I also think we're going to see Fios expand. I also think we're going to see the home internet expand, the 5G home internet. More and more of that stuff. Rapson says 6 out of 10 this year, 7 out of 10 for next year. Sure, why not? That's pretty close to my ratings. I think that's fair. I do. I think I'll probably do a poll on Twitter. If you guys want to check me out on Twitter, @SneedTech is the handle. Caleb, we'll talk about Dish here in a second. Inactivity sometimes could be worse than bad activity. And I think that's one of those instances, honestly, in my opinion. We'll talk about it. Let's see here. Oh, now for the big one. The carrier that I'd say is, of all of them, is probably the most divisive, flamboyant, but fun carriers, really. T-Mobile. All right, so here's what I got to say about T-Mobile, okay? T-Mobile is a new company. I don't care what you tell me. T-Mobile in 2020 is not the same T-Mobile as 2019. No way, no how. T-Mobile's just different now. A lot of things have changed at the former uncarrier, the current recarrier, Magenta, Pinky, whatever you want to call it. I'm just teasing. I'm having fun. The same faces really didn't have too much turnover, but the head kahuna changed seats. So John Legere steps down. They don't bring him back, right? They kind of bring in Mike Sievert, who was the former COO, I think. He was the operating officer, I believe. He gets bumped up to CEO, and everybody else kind of moves up. But it's really the same faces. But they're under a new identity because now it's super corporate over there, right? So John steps down. The uncarrier gets less uncarrier and becomes more carrier. The merger gets approved in April after months and months of litigation, trials, and attorneys general and all of that stuff. It's then all about retail integration, retail merging, the Sprint decommission, recommission, the network integration process, legacy technology getting shut down and then relaunched in some other way. Retail problems, they got cloth banners hanging above stores, old Sprint stores. Stores shutting down and not opening back up, right? Because of, the COVID pandemic and all of that. I think some of the highlights from 2020 for T-Mobile is the merger itself. Successfully completing the merger after years of litigation and trials and fights and back and forth and ups and downs, they finally made it happen. Nobody happier about the T-Mobile Sprint merger than John Legere himself and Marcelo Clore, the former CEO of Sprint. They cashed out huge. So I think making that deal happen, that's considered a success. I think the expansion of 5G boded well for T-Mobile this year. I think that'll continue in the future, but low-band 5G expanded. Mid-band 5G expanded, especially in the last half of the year. Really the last quarter, I would say. 5G handset pushes. Trying to get people in 5G devices to take advantage of N71, to take advantage of N41. Heavy promos there. They launched a 100 gigabyte hotspot plan. That's pretty good. It's the best of its type in wireless telecom. Aggressive service promotions. They got the new Essentials plan, trying to help people save money. You can question the access, but the deals are good, right? I think also part of the highlights, we have to talk about the N41 deployment, which is picking up pace. The N41 deployment in the CLE, the sites are getting upgraded. They're not performing perfectly, but they are upgrades. They're getting fast. I think more in the future on that. All right, lowlights for T-Mobile. The way that they've treated Metro by T-Mobile is nothing short of a travesty. I feel like how they've dealt with their authorized dealers has been nothing short of horrible. A lot of that, like John Fryer and all of that and the drama that goes on Twitter, clearly they are not happy with the restructure. I can't say anything good about that. The whole Metro problem, not wanting to deal with it and then finally wanting to deal with it and not preventing it from spilling into the streets, as they say. They should have handled that differently and thought that through. They were poaching customers and de-emphasizing Metro, trying to get them, trying to get Metro customers to come to postpaid with like line deals and stuff like that. Horrible. T-Mobile kind of got slapped on the hands a couple of times. Buffering on your end? Must be your provider. I don't know what's going on there. There were a couple of times when the 5G claims were checked by the NAD, the National Advertising Division or whatever of the Better Business Bureau. There were store closings, there were job cuts, job eliminations. I have a couple of personal friends, with employment situations. I always said that at some point, everybody was like, oh, yeah, great, the merger and all this. It's great. It's inevitable. They were going to lay people off. And honestly, I'm not surprised. T-Mobile's just a different company. Ladies and gentlemen, if you still think they are the Un-carrier, you are sadly mistaken. Readjust your thought process about T-Mobile now so you're not disappointed later. That's all I'll say. They lost or eliminated roaming agreements and roaming partners. So that probably affected a lot of the extended coverage in cities and rural America and regions of states. The network integration has been a work in progress, and it's been difficult. There have been times where the network has been bogged down, problematic, tower sites down, all the stuff that comes with all of that. I also think like the focus on capacity has de-emphasized the focus on coverage. So rural America, I don't know. We've seen the momentary tanking, outages. We had the big outage in the summer. I'm probably going to expect some more outages next year, in my opinion, unfortunately. I think when they start migrating more and more Sprint customers onto T-Mobile native and getting them off of that Sprint side, that'll probably inevitably happen, especially if Neville gets froggy and starts moving over 20 million at a time, 10 million at a time. So anyways, I think in 2021, the focus will be N41 in urban areas. You're not going to see much of it in rural, not yet. Network integration will continue to be a work in progress. They'll improve the network. In fact, I think in some places it's going to be really, really fast. Wherever they put clusters of cell sites with upgrades, you're going to see a lot of good coming out of that. CapEx obviously is going to be a big factor in this. I don't think you guys understand. You can't make a good network without spending a lot of money. Wireless is difficult. You got to spend. They're going to have to do that. They're going to have to spend a lot of money, in my opinion. So if they spend like 15 billion, 16 billion, I like their 2021 outlook. If they spend like 10 or 11 billion, I don't like their 2021 outlook. I think they're underachieving. They've got to capitalize on this opportunity. Verizon can't do much. AT&T can't do much as it pertains to capacity through midband. So spend and take advantage of this opportunity. 2021 could be your year, T-Mobile. I think also the window closes once Verizon and AT&T start deploying C-band, because then they start deploying at the same time, right? So the opportunity is kind of relevant to that timing. Hey, Dalvin, good to see you. N41 has to improve too in 2021. In my testing, I've tested well over a dozen sites. N41 has limited range. It's got an effective range of about a half a mile. Some people have said that they're getting it to work up to 2 miles. I think the furthest I've got it to test was 0.6 miles, and it was probably like 50% capacity. It was like 100 megabits per second. It's not good enough. Not here. It's not going to be good enough. If it's going to help more people, it's got to have better range. I think a couple of things have to happen. They've got some hardware to upgrade. They've got some OEMs to work through that hardware, the tower site hardware. They've got to upgrade backhaul. They've got to improve density. They just have to scale it more and I think work through some of those problems. The range has to get better. I think the capacity has to get better. I kind of brought it up. Just the general effectiveness, and I think it improves. For 2020, I think T-Mobile had a 8 out of 10 year. Mostly because they successfully made the merger happen. But at the same time, their execution of the merger was awful. The retail execution was awful. I think their network integration has been poorly executed. I don't know if they could have did better. I don't know, but they had a massive outage that was costly. They lost customers from it. They had to give people a lot of credits. Let's not discount how big those things are. I also think what they did to some of their employees, the executive said, you have a seat at the table here. And then people were let go. The problem is when you merge, it's inevitably going to be a situation where you're going to consolidate your employees. You're going to have a lot of redundancies. But T-Mobile came in and said they weren't going to lay people off and they weren't going to get rid of people, but they did. So in my opinion, they lied when they didn't have to. So That's why I only gave them an 8 out of 10. Had they have taken good care of the people or not promised all those things, I'm looking at a 9 out of 10 year for them, in my opinion. In 2021, I think T-Mobile can have a 9 out of 10 year. Simply because no other carrier can do what they can, which is capitalize on mid-band 5G. AT&T can't do it. Verizon can't do it. There literally is a restriction on the availability of mid-band. Nobody can do it. Verizon can only do CBRS, unlicensed and licensed. AT&T can only do 2.3 where they can, the WCS. And a little bit of unlicensed if they wanted to do that. C-RAN sites, millimeter wave. That's really what the other two are doing. So this is T-Mobile's opportunity. 2021 is going to be a huge year for them. I hope they spend $15 or $16 billion. We shall see. The last carrier I want to talk about is Dish. Caleb, you're going to get a kick out of this, man. Let me tell you guys about Dish's 2020. Dish got exposed about the whole AWS 4 situation. Why they have all the spectrum and they have not deployed it is kind of on the FCC. Dish is a pain because the FCC never did anything to prevent Charlie Ergen and Dish from doing these things. So Dish is partly to blame for their BS, and so is the FCC. Ajit Pai is gone, so who cares? It's done and over with. There are a couple of nice things that Ajit Pai did, to ensure some progress in 5G. But honestly, he's terrible. He is terrible. He's not into customer protections. He's not into consumer protections. He protects, internet providers, and that's really it. But Dish, they haven't made much progress as tower sites go, as network build goes. They have solidified their deals. They have materialized deals with Mavenir, with Nokia for their network core. They've got deals with Crown Castle and American Tower, I believe. We're going to see them building tower sites this year, hopefully. Hopefully you see more and more of them popping up. I'd love to see market deployment by the end of the year. I don't know how or where our expectations should be on that. Do not hold your breath on anything Dish until we actually see them launch markets of 5G and so on. They do have some landmarks that they have to hit in 2022, so we'll see where that ends up. So this year is really going to be about infrastructure and starting to build out their network. But they are doing it Open RAN, and they are doing it greenfield, so they're not locked into any type of plan per se. They can kind of do things their own way. They don't need to offer huge capacity, so they don't need massive amounts of spectrum. Really, it's going to be about execution for them. We'll be watching them closely, see what they could do. Let's see here. We need to see something from Dish. That's all I'm saying. Spectrum just needs to be deployed. That's Dish for you. All right. Can we talk? I just want to do like some open, rapid fire stuff about 2020 and 2021. I'm in a vent right now. You guys ready for a Sneed vent sesh? All right. Here's my takeaways from 2020 and 2021, okay? Low band 5G sucks. I don't care what you have to say. Low band 5G is trash. It's skinny channels. It's limited bandwidth. There's not much speed. Low band 5G sucks. So screw you, Verizon, with your band 5 DSS. Screw you, AT&T, with your band 5 5G. And screw you, T-Mobile, with your band 71 5G. They suck. All right, low band 5G sucks. It's slow. And there's no capacity. Keep it. All right, deploy it in rural America where there's not a lot of customers. Get it out of here. If you're in urban America, you don't want it. All right? And stop advertising 5G icon nonsense. Cut it out. We don't need 5G icons. We need spectrum deployed. We need tower site densification. Give me that. Keep the 5G icon. Yes, that's right, Caleb. Yes, vent icon. Screw low band 5G. Keep it. Next thing I want to say, mid-band 5G is going to be awesome in 2021. T-Mobile will deploy more of it. Verizon will do CBRS. I'd like to see others deploy CBRS unlicensed as well. Make it happen. More and more. I want more of it. Next, millimeter wave ultra wideband will continue to be amazing and absolutely tremendous, and it's going to get better. Verizon kind of leading the way there. AT&T kind of like number 2. I have no idea why T-Mobile continues to insist that they don't need ultra wideband, like they don't need millimeter wave. You can't do ultra high capacity with 100 megahertz of midband. You're going to need 200 megahertz of midband, 300, 400, which you can get from ultra wideband. In scenarios where you want to offload some of your midband and low band network traffic, you deploy millimeter wave. So Neville Ray and all these T-Mobile people, don't poo-poo something that you don't think you can afford to deploy. Deploy what you want to deploy, that's fine, but don't poo-poo something that works and is effective. I think the problem is T-Mobile has created a faction. You either want mid-band or you want ultra-wideband. No. I want mid-band and ultra-wideband. I don't want to negotiate. I want both. There are places that need ultra-wideband, and mid-band is not enough. That place exists. It's called New York City. It's called Chicago. It's called Miami. It's called Dallas. It's called San Francisco. It's called Cleveland. There are cities all across this country that need ultra-wideband as much as they need mid-band. So T-Mobile is masking the truth. They're telling you mid-band is the way to go. It is. But you need ultra-wideband too, and that is the future of networking. There's no other way to slice it. You're going to need millimeter wave. They're going to tell you, we're not going to need it because we've got mid-band. You don't have enough mid-band to secure the future of networking. You have enough mid-band to secure the next couple of years. But that's it. Oh, LA. How could I forget LA? Mid-band can do a lot, but there are situations where ultra-wideband is required. It will be mandatory. They're just telling you otherwise because they're not doing it right now. And then they also say like Verizon doesn't want to do mid-band. Are you crazy? They're going to be spending 40, 50 billion on C-band. And I told people that was going to happen. No, they just want to do millimeter wave. Are you that naive? Come on. Listen to what carriers say is a losing proposition. Watch what they do. Do not listen to what they say. Next prediction or whatever. Apple will make a $499 5G smartphone in 2021. I don't know if it's going to be like the 2021 iPhone SE. They'll make a sub $500 iPhone that will be 5G compatible. That's next. Another thing, I think T-Mobile will have a really great 5G data speed performance here. I think T-Mobile's going to have 25 of the top 50 cellular markets in the U.S. where they are the fastest carrier. I think they'll also have about 40 in the top 100. It's their chance. 2021 could be their year. It's all CapEx dependent, though, how much money they spend. There's no other way. I also think Verizon is going to add at least another 50 or so markets of ultra-wideband. They currently have 60, which they did in like a year and a half. Give them 50 more next year, pushing them over 100 markets at some point next year. Let's say Q4, the end of Q3. They'll have 100 markets with ultra-wideband. Also, in the markets that are pre-existing, they're going to continue to build out the ultra-wideband, higher concentrations of sites, more and more nodes deployed. It's crazy over here in the CLE. There are parts of the CLE where you drive around neighborhoods staying connected to ultra-wideband every turn you make. And people say, oh, you know, it's going to be too expensive. It's costing them like $17,000 a site now. It's not expensive at all. You could argue that if they did it correctly and advances in ultra-wideband continue to happen, it might be cheaper to deploy ultra-wideband than building macros because of time constraints and because of building permits and all that stuff. Like it could happen. I think Verizon's going to do a lot with CBRS. I think they're going to close that track phone deal, no problem. A lot of, you know, prepaid and MVNO action from the carriers, especially Verizon with the track phone deal. I think AT&T is going to continue to crush low band, band 14 FirstNet. That'll continue to be something that will thrive. I think Verizon is going to modify their plans at the middle or end of Q1, early Q2 possibly. That would be cool. Maybe improve value or give more flexibility in pricing. I think that depends on how much CBRS they get done and how much ultra-wideband they get done. All right, ready for some hot takes? All right, some hot takes from the SMT. I think Netflix is going to find its way to the T-Mobile roundtable again. I'm sorry to say it, guys. But I think T-Mobile's just about fed up with Netflix raising pricing. I think they're really going to reconsider Netflix next year. It's really going to ramp up. Conversations between the CEO, you know, and some of those executives, I think the Netflix situation is going to be on life support next year. Taxes and fees are also going to be assessed. They may try to figure out how we're going to get rid of those things. I don't know. I think AT&T is going to raise pricing everywhere except for wireless. TV price increases, direct TV price increases, fiber increases in certain places, in certain scenarios. Like they'll make a more elite tier. I think they're also going to become more competitive in the lower end of fiber, like the 100 meg plan, the 300 meg plan. I think that pricing is going to be competitive. I think when they start to go like 2 gig symmetrical, that'll be priced very, very premium. So, you know, that sort of thing. I'm going to reach completely. I'm going to go out on a limb. iPhones are going to sell. I know I'm like totally reaching right there. iPhones are going to be the best-selling smartphone next year. I think that's a slam dunk. Google, I think they go back to selling a flagship, and it's going to be a good phone. I don't know if it's going to sell. I mean, people just don't seem to buy Pixels, but it's going to be a good phone. I see standalone 5G being deployed by Verizon probably by Q2. I think it's going to be ready. I don't know how effective it'll be. I hope they don't have problems like with the DSS situation. DSS is going to get better next year. I think that's a pretty easy claim to make. And one last thing, and I think this is pretty much a slam dunk. You guys tell me if you agree. T-Mobile retail employees will continue to twerk in stores on TikTok and Snapchat. They will continue to twerk and shake their batoots in order to keep their jobs. They will continue to rock pink thongs. Pink thong stocks are going to be up. I think that will continue. And the twerking continues. So if you are, in the stock markets and in the shares, invest in pink thongs, invest in twerking and TikTok, and invest in T-Mobile Tuesdays, and the twerking. I think all of that will continue to be a thing in 2021. All right, let's go ahead and wrap things up here. Thank you all for tuning in here to the SMT podcast. You guys are amazing. If it is your first time here, please make sure that you do subscribe. Go ahead and click on that subscribe button. Activate the bell notification icon so you never miss an upload from the SMT. Select all, and that way you never miss anything. Check out our Patreon page. If you like what the YouTube channel offers, you could take it next level with a Patreon membership. With a small donation, get continued access to exclusive content, live streams, podcasts, network testing, more videos. It's great. You also get early access to the YouTube videos and stuff like that, posts and whatnot. So check it out. There's a link in the description box for that. Also check us out on Twitter at SneedTech. And I want to give a special shout out to the Mod Squad. Thank you guys for taking care of business all year. You've been amazing for me, keeping things clean and kosher in the live chats. You guys are the best. Hashtag 2LiveCrew if you watch this on the live. Hashtag Replay Crew if you watch this on DVR. Hashtag Ravioli Gang if you are watching this while you're eating or you're hungry. Appreciate you all very much. I want to wish you all a happy new year. I wish you wealth. I wish you health. I wish you success and all of your dreams come true. And I can't wait for a better 2021. You guys are the best. Thank you, SMT Nation, for another great year. You guys are amazing. Thank you for all your continued support. Be careful out there today. If you are leaving the house, please be careful. We'd love to see you next year. And on behalf of the entire SMT Nation, I wish you all a happy new year. Thank you for watching tonight's show, podcast. We hope to see you soon on the next one. Take it easy and peace. You guys know what happens right about now. The final one for 2020 on YouTube. Yeah!